Ayo. We nailed that one. There we go.
Yeah,
Welcome to Benchwarmers, a WOSO podcast, episode 36, part 3. By the way, I do have a number 36 for you right
Okay,
now,
go for
off
it.
the dome. Romain Rafalski from Lyon,
What?
baller, number 36 on the
Crazy.
dot. Yeah, we're gonna start pulling up some big boy numbers soon. Until we're after like 50, and like we'll have to wait till like 71 for like Lenzini ball. But and some crazy numbers that come up later. Shante Dompig for 99 as well. But we'll get there. But this is basically an emergency podcast calling all Tillies to evacuate, calling all benches to be, this is hot off the press, hot off the bench. We're talking about some crazy reactions. You can see Allegra's background. You can see my background. We're going to start with the McCABE, the MC McCABE. We don't have McCABE.
I knew you were going to say that as well.
Yeah, I do definitely understand. We went to Barcelona.
You're still going.
We took Batya owner. We lost Katie McCabe. That's what happened, really.
You should submit that.
Yeah.
Submit it.
No,
they will
no.
take
Well,
it.
That's what's going to happen when you guys shake it, owner Batya. shake your Batya.
Jesus.
But yes, as we are supposed to be talking about the Irish Jesus, the second coming of Jesus in Ireland, Katie McCabe has decided to call time on her illustrious Arsenal career. Look, the greatest left foot that's ever left-footed in Arsenal, in London, in my opinion. The most important player in terms of aura, getting you back into a season, facilitating a confidence in North London that has to be respected over the last decade. A lot relies on that left side, and I think having a Katie McCabe shaped hole in your left side of your pitch will mean that everyone goes after that left side regardless of who you replace her with. Is it a we cannot replace her moment?
I think yes, and I think it's more so to do with the fact that she brings so much footballing wise, but she galvanizes the squad in ways that I haven't seen a player do in yonks in terms of men's, women's football at Arsenal. It's one of those things where the figure of Katie McCabe and the person that she is, you take away the football and she's still so iconic in the fabric of Arsenal, the new generation of Arsenal coming out of 18-19 and in that fantastic WSL win. To me, she not only represents pride and persistence in staying with the club. It's been 10 years. It's something that you have to admire. But also the fact that even though she is one of the most beloved footballers, she's still underrated. Like it's crazy to say.
Except by me.
Of course.
I think I'm the only one who had, since we started the podcast, have said that obviously 100%. I can shill Janu Levels, I can shill Esme Brutes, I can shill AG, who's made her move to left back now, but it is McCabe. McCabe is the best left back, the traditional left back, the traditional modern left back, if I'm going to use some needless repetition or oxymoronic repetition, which is the fact that she's not innately a goal scorer in the sense of Esme, where she's in the box headering chances. She's whipping in balls that no other left back can do bar AG, but AG's balls are very different. It's not that hooking, hoofing, AG is playing low driven passes, driving the ball up the field. McCabe can do everything, and I hope wherever she goes, she actually, if she stays at left back, great, and then I can keep putting her in my world 11s at left back, and you can keep complaining that I play 4 at the back, but I will always play 4 at the back and always be Katie McCabe until she makes the Karchaoui move into midfield, and it's already happening for Ireland. She's already moving further up the pitch with the 3 at the back. She just doesn't have a position for Ireland. She plays the McCabe role. But I truly wonder where her next destination is.
If, as we've mentioned before, in the WSL, it needs to be for a club that is going to match the level of Katie McCabe. The uniqueness of Katie McCabe Yes, City. The uniqueness of Katie McCabe is that she can play in any system, anywhere. You mentioned it. The move into
Mm.
midfield is already happening in national team. I don't want her to take what she does for Ireland, being the talisman, being the person who is so obviously the best player in the team,
Yeah.
dragging, not really dragging. I mean, this is an Irish team on their own right, but taking a team that is in its inception, footballing wise, and bringing them up to the Bs and the A levels.
Yeah. They
I
don't
don't
get
want
to
that for
they don't
her.
get to this upcoming World Cup without her.
Without
They
her.
don't get a sniff near it. Yeah.
But I don't want her to do that for another team. I want the team around her to better her and for her to better them in an equal relationship. I don't want her to go to LCL.
Yeah, I was going to say, is that you saying basically you don't want her to go to LCL or the
Yeah,
NWSL, basically?
exactly. Honestly,
Yeah.
the move is to stay in the WSL for as long as possible because that's what she has to offer.
But
But
okay, I would like what you're
mm,
describing, her being in a team that is at her level, so she doesn't have to be the taliswoman. That is just City. That is just City because
yeah, of course.
anywhere
Yeah.
else, it is that really. I
And
mean,
you need her.
obviously, I actually think like I will never say no to the best left back in the world in my opinion.
Mm,
But if you're asking about the team that actually needs her, it's the other side of London. They're
yeah,
screwed at left back. They're about to lose Neve
true.
Charles. Sandy Baltimore. I mean, we've rode home about the fact that
Mm,
she's not a left back. She's just a pseudo left back who plays left back. But McCabe should be McCabe. If McCabe wants to change the fabric of the league, the blue side of London should offer her everything if they want to
mm,
fix their left side. I don't think she should ever play for Chelsea. That would be an absolute disaster. And also
mm.
being an Irish Judas in her own right would just be horrendous. But look, I could see her in sky blue, especially if Beth MBE Mead is coming with her.
Mm,
I mean, our team just goes insane. Like our team goes from good to insane. Like
mm,
we're having a discussion next year about who's on the field between Kanak, Rose, AG, and McCabe.
mm.
Are we serious? Like that's the best problem to have of all time. Like, and I think all of them would understand their role in the fact that they don't have to start every game. We
Mm.
don't have to worry about the fact that some games will be going up against Arsenal and Liv Smith, and we'll need a more traditional left back like McCabe to lock them down. Some games we'll play Leicester, or not more if Leicester stay up, but some games we'll play against Villa who ship goals, and then we can play AG on the left side, and then some days we can play AG through the center, and Kanak can come off and play with McCabe, and then we have AG and McCabe on one side of the field, which
Mm.
in my head is a bit slow, but also like it will work. It will work depending on what game we have. So depth is never a problem. I hate when people go like you're 100% right in saying the owner McCabe thing that they couldn't play together. That's not the problem. The question would be is there needs to be a number one. There needs to be a number one like team that you're putting out so that like knowing your best team for a manager is different to having good depth. And
Mm.
the reality is that for me, I think the way in which the way in which the team is set up, McCabe would play a role in which she doesn't have to play every week. And that's actually a good thing for her because then she's fit, she's firing for Champions League, she can play the bigger games. She doesn't have to play every WSL game that's miserly. Like it's just silly. Like we want to rotate. We want to be able to give Kanak, who's a slightly injury prone, a break from playing week in, week out in the WSL. And more depth means more games, more greatness, more silverware, especially with two players who have so much silverware in their own right.
And that's why I think that despite me being incredibly upset from a personal perspective, the potential upgrade on McCabe, I think outweighs the sadness and the loss of such a great and such a legend. The fact
Yeah.
that we could potentially be bringing on your Battier on that left side,
Left
yes,
back. Ugh,
I know that you
disgusting.
have your problems with it, but like
Disgusting.
it doesn't
Oh
really
no, I know
matter.
she's got a weak foot. She's got a weak
No,
foot.
but
I'm not.
it
Yeah,
doesn't really matter. Like you could
yeah.
put Anya Battier anywhere and she just exceeds, similar to Katie McCabe, the traditional positions that we play in. I don't know whether this could also mean that maybe we're seeing a change and a shift in what Renee wants to do. She's already been experimenting a lot with the lineup
I
and what she wants to do, but it'll be
I mean,
interesting.
you
And I
have
think,
two of the best recovery fullbacks. It's
mm,
actually very reminiscent of like Guardiola's like
yeah,
beautiful game. Like
yeah,
it's actually quite Menso. It doesn't feel like she's taking on the Emma Hayes, Wiegman,
mm,
like Geraldes model. Like Geraldes in a little bit, but also Geraldes' personnel doesn't dictate the way he plays.
no,
It's more about system and style.
mm,
But it is very Guardiola. It is kind of you've got the you're gonna have two fullbacks that are pseudo centre backs in a way. Like I know they're both fullbacks, but their up and down work is perfection. Like you have two of the fastest. Like you will never get beaten on those wide spaces. You just won't. You have two of the five best fullbacks in the world, no questions asked. And whether it comes down to chance creation, I think Ona is better on the right side. Everyone knows that her right foot to be able to open up, and I hope that switch is potentially on. I mean, with Smiller moving further up forward, Smiller could play left back. Then you could have Ona playing further up forward on the right side. That could be an opportunity for her to play further forward and then provide an aggressive press on that right side that overloads them, shifts them one way, and then you can close them in on the left side.
I'm thinking more of the invert. I'm thinking back to what we were doing even with McCABE, inverting into midfield, changing it from a four-back system to a three-back system, and using Ono Battier as added numbers
Up
in
and
midfield.
down. Yeah.
But also to help out someone like a Mariona and potentially a Reuteler, who we'll go into as well.
Yeah, I mean, we are going to talk. We should just jump into that now. We will do it quickly, but it is the Frankfurt Foursome finally fucking off. That's it.
The alliteration.
The quadruple FFF Frankfurt. Yeah, they have fired away. So who is it? The five senses. Anyomi, Riesen, Reuteler, and Sense have all decided adios. We've come third. Game over. This is good and bad. This is actually quite sad.
I think it's
the death. This is the death of an institutional like an institutional club that matters in WOSO.
I was going to say an institutional rebrand, given the fact that they were once an institutional club that were trying to rebrand into something like more European, and now it hasn't worked.
Yeah, no, 100%. And this comes to ambition. This comes to the idea that they look far ahead of them. They look at VFL. They look at Bayern, who are finished the marathon. Basically, they finished the marathon 4 weeks ago. You're still running, and you look at a player like Reuteler, Anyomi. Sense has already been linked to Real Madrid, but Riesen, I mean, I'm quite interested by Riesen. I think Riesen has a lot of creative flair, and especially has picked up her form in the last 6 weeks. So I think it'll be interesting to see where she ends up going. But Anyomi is probably, like, I know you're going to say Reuteler is potentially the jewel in the crown, but I think Anyomi is a 20-goal striker, and we talk about the fact that there is an ability there that could be utilized by many clubs in Europe. I do wonder where Anyomi goes. If it's an NWSL move, crazy, absolutely mental. But I do see her staying in Europe. Whether it is the Alex Pop replacement, that would be pretty crazy. That's to go across the ponds. But maybe there is a WSL or Arkema team calling their name.
I still don't get the Anyomi hype. She reminds me so much of the what if players that are so prevalent in women's football. I'm specifically thinking about Bernstein, who we have seen great glimpses of, but hasn't stayed at a club and done it for long enough to be considered a top striker. I'm also thinking of someone, of course, like Feller. That is probably the best example. She's incredibly versatile in the front line. She also can score goals, but it's about what happens in those big moments. I think Anyomi going potentially to France is not the lateral move of doom. This is not like, oh, I'm going to France and I'm obviously going to be one of the 2 or 3 top teams, and the rest is just going to be like the drudgeons, right? This could be an opportunity for her to pick up form in ways that she maybe can't do in a Frankfurt team that not a lot of the time are facing teams so beneath them. Like they have to fight every game in ways that in France you don't really have to do. So I think with Anyomi, it is, as you mentioned, like this could be a real stepping stone for her to get 20 goals a season, but it's on her. Like, can she do it? Can she be looked at for PSG or for Paris FC?
Yeah, I mean, I would kind of like Paris FC. I think this balances the playing field in Paris FC. I guess I'm more bullish on her than you, but I mean, this Frankfurt, I mean, look, we're 11 years ago, we're talking about, I mean, obviously institution in their own right, 4 Champions Leagues, and a lot of their brilliance, a lot of their Pokal, Frauenbund's dominance, monopolization is in the early 2000s, which we've spoken about before. The Birgit Prince era of football, but it wasn't that long. Like when you go beyond the Birgit Prince, they did have a resurgence. So the 2014-15 Champions League final, like against PSG, obviously this PSG side is as good as it gets, by the way,
Yeah.
when we're talking about like prime Aslani, prime Dali. But this Frankfurt side with Senegorcevic and Marajan and Schumann in goal, Hendrich at centre back, like this is one of the great, like this is that era of German football from 0 to 15. And I know Bayern are bringing it back, and I know Bayern have a window. They have a shelf life, right? Their shelf life as a European titan right now rests in the hands of Pernilla Harder right now. And I don't get me wrong, Clara Bull is good, but she's only as good as the person she's crossing to. And the fact that Frankfurt, a team with European pedigree, couldn't even make Europe this year. They're four of their best, what I'd argue are their best players, have decided that the institution isn't big enough for me to go somewhere else. And if they go to a place like PSG, who aren't there European wise. Yes, they're in Europe, but they're not actually like facilitating any sort of legacy or pedigree in there, especially this year. Jesus Christ, PSG was horrendous in the Champions League. That's a shock. Like that's a shock to me as like the mentality of a German women's footballer should be to be at the most decorated clubs in Germany, and to not put Frankfurt in that list or in the mindset shows I don't know, not a lack of respect, but a lack of confidence in the ability to get back to former glory.
And I think that this is incredibly problematic in a Frauen Bundesliga historically who's not been able to keep their best players. I'm thinking of the late 2010s Wolfsburgs and Bayerns who weren't able to keep the establishing or even growing talent that they had in their ranks. They went off to WSL clubs, they went even further, and it worked for them in ways that unfortunately we haven't seen a Frauen Bundesliga Champions League winner in ages now. And that's not the tradition of the Frauen. They produce, as you just mentioned, astounding teams, astounding
talent,
clubs. And unfortunately, I think Frankfurt's a part of this. It's also a shift in what players are wanting from clubs. I don't think that Frankfurt is offering them, for one, European football at the greatest level, but also there's no prosperity in playing for a team that doesn't have the eyeballs of the WSL, doesn't have the investment of the WSL, and potentially doesn't have the duopoly as well. They are not part of the Wolfsburg Bayern. They are on the fringes, same as Hoffenheim, and that's why probably
but that's where I would be bullish. I would be yes, there's an argument that Anyomi could be like, you know what, VFL are having an exodus somewhat as well, and I could go not very far on a train or a private jet and fly and go play in Spotify Green and come second instead of third, and then score, and then potentially have someone like Christian Vuk go, you know what, you're doing it for second place, not third place. And Anyomi's already in the mix, in the fringes. She is supposed to take the mantle up top after Alex Pop. I mean, yes, you can talk about Searchy, you can talk about, I mean, Leah Schuler is also on the brink of like her career being done, right? Like you're at United, your prime years are beyond you, and Yomi's prime years are ahead of her, and she needs to rise to the occasion. If you're going to leave, you've got to leave with reason. And if we're going to talk about people who are leaving with reason, we're going to talk about the two Tillies who have decided to leave with relatively good reason, I would say. I think Sam Kerr's exodus from Chelsea defines an era similar to McCABE in that way. I think Sam Kerr deciding that, I mean, basically that Bunny Shaw is coming and I'm not worthy is very, very fair. Shout out to Sam Kerr's form post recovery. The last 16 games have been pretty spectacular and proven me wrong in ways that you're not supposed to expect that level of form from Sam at this time and this age. Any level of form is amazing from her, and especially there were moments in that Asia Cup where there were remnants of her pressing ability and her left foot. That was the big one in the cup, is that her ability to score with her weak foot was amazing. But it seems like the NWSL move is on the cards. Go back to Mewis, go back to Jagger, enjoy life as a human being. You don't need to be in North London. You don't need to be in West London, East London, in Boreham Wood, losing Premier Leagues and not gaining anything for your legacy by scoring a few more goals. I mean, you scored more than Fran now, and Fran's not going to play for Chelsea again. So, You've done what you needed to do. Everywhere you go, you score the most goals for that respective club. You've achieved everything bar a Champions League, and we will hold that over you and against you until the day you die. And actually beyond that, because we will talk about the fact that you had a chance. You did have a chance.
Yeah.
Game is the game, but you won everything else, and you were a part of everything else, and you were one of the greatest footballers, definitely the greatest Australian footballer, no questions asked. It's a Flemington straight, but you may not end up being the most decorated, and that's okay. That's fine, but yes, I think that the NWSL move is on, and I think she'll go back, reclaim her top goal scorer status in the NWSL, and potentially win even more and add more silverware from America to her cabinet.
Sam Kerr is incredibly anachronistic in a WSL and in a European football that is vastly moving away from that traditional striker. Bunny Shaw is probably the exception to that just because of the fact that she's been able to keep her form to a degree and to a level that is admirable and wanted by so many clubs. It's
Mm.
funny, I do think that football is cyclical. I actually do think that Sam Kerr's style of football will come back. The
Yeah.
fact of the matter is that the NWSL has never moved away from Sam Kerr's football. She came to the NWSL as a bright light. She sparked up a fast forward who could score goals from any angle, particularly with her head. It wasn't something that was necessarily a prospect in the NWSL to see a player who was not the Abby Wambach, big, tall, strong player, but was rather a runner who was potentially also playing on the flank at sometimes. Like this was a player who was incredibly versatile in the forward line. That's what got her name, really. Also,
Yeah.
coming from Australia as well. This is not
Oh,
like a move from Europe to the NWSL.
of
Going
course.
back there, she fits seamlessly in. It's one of
Yeah.
those things where it's basically an old shoe. Like she just
Yeah.
slips back into it. The football has not gone past her in that sense. It has gone past her in Europe, but I actually think this is a good move for her for Australia. If she can pick up form against the players who she will most likely face up against in terms of the US being the most dominant, not only style of football that they'll probably face up against, but also one of the most dominant teams in the world. That'll be a good thing. She picks up her form, she picks up the goals. The Tillies will be incredibly
But where
happy.
where does she go? That's the real
Oh,
question.
it's obvious. It's
Yeah.
gonna be
Denver.
Denver. It's pretty
Yeah,
obvious.
Denver. Yeah. So
You're
it's
not.
heaps Kerball would be on fire, and Denver already doing somewhat competently without
Mm,
both of them. So it can only be bonuses to add two world-class footballers to the ranks.
mm.
And I mean, her record shows. I mean, whether it was with the Flash or what was then known as the Red Stars,
Yeah.
baby, that's damn straight. She does. I mean, she got close with the Red Stars. I mean, the fact that she even took them to a semblance
Mm.
of form that in 2019 was very impressive. But the Flash era, I mean, what that was
They were a
probably, I
shit
would say,
team.
yeah,
She
I would
came
say,
there and they
yeah,
were shit.
she was carrying. I was going to
Yeah.
say that's her. That's probably what I would say was prime Sam Kerr in the NWSL
Mm.
by that metric. Obviously, prime Sam Kerr is, in my opinion, 2020, 2021, that era where she was just absolutely ripping
Yeah.
apart the WSL, and everywhere she goes, everyone benefits. Her honors are too long to name. Even if she comes back, I would love her to come back down under for a season. It's just not worth it for her. And it might be a bit later on. It might be like a Michelle Heyman Eras Tour kind of roundup.
She goes back to the
Um,
Sam Kerr Stadium. She
yeah,
honors it.
yeah,
She
exactly. Yeah, yeah. Why
she
not? Why
christens
not?
it.
We can indulge in that when she does make the move out of Denver, but we
Mm.
don't know. She might just stay in Denver forever with her partner, rightfully so. But another person who's leaving their respective club after their service and time is Katrina
Mm.
Gorry leaving West Ham. What will West Ham do without Harper Gorry in their
The
Instagram
PR.
post? Yeah, the PR Gorry. Yeah, I mean this is also just a big deal in the semblance of where does she go? What is her future hold? Are we looking at? This is the beginning of the Cooney Cross Wheeler era if she isn't holding her form at the what I would consider the top levels and leagues of form, because I don't know. Katrina Gorry is an interesting player where I mean the first attributes that I ascribe to her are not necessarily footballing ability, but
Mm.
the ability to play against people with higher footballing ability than her, in my opinion, and then stand out. So it is the tenacity, the ferocity, the physical nature of the game, the natural leadership that she provides in midfield cannot be questioned. And I say it with no insult that, like, I don't
Mm.
know, the technical brilliance of Claire Wheeler or even Cooney Cross when she's able to do so is far and beyond Katrina Gorry. But the reality is that we need players like Katrina Gorry to close out games for the Matildas. We need games where we've got feisty midfields to come up against, namely when we came up against Germany in the Olympics, and we need people to give weights to people like Lena Oberdorf and stick
Mm.
tackles on people, because I don't see Cooney Crosses and Wheelers going after tackles like that and the press that we need and require. And part of that intensity that Jomo plays is got to do with players like Gorry being on the top of their form. And if she's not in a league that is testing her or challenging her, or she's sinking to the level of that league, then ultimately Australia is not benefiting for that.
I think it's fair to say not only at West Ham, but in general, she has exceeded the expectations everywhere she's gone. I
True.
think you have to commend the fact that she came to the WSL as a mature age player. I think she was around 30 years old, but she's also not overstaying her welcome. She is doing her time. She was captain of the club. She obviously hasn't had the season that she's wanted. I think after that ankle injury, just I think it was early last year, she hasn't been the same player, but she brought something, and I'm talking about the mini Gori, the prime mini Gori. She brought something that was incredibly unique in midfield, which was maybe I would say like subverting the expectation of a small midfielder. She wasn't technically gifted in the way we see Chidiac is as a diminutive midfielder, but she stood her ground in the way that potentially someone like an Alana Kennedy would do, or an EVE, or a
Mhm.
Polkinghorne. Like these were the
Mhm.
type of players that she was with that immediately impacted her game and how she played it. She came into the WSL and was easily West Ham's best player. I believe she
Yeah.
came in as a mid-season transfer as well. That might be mistaken, but I think she came in mid-season. And I think that the way that she has taken on this West Ham team, she talked about it being
Yeah.
family. She talked about how she has loved and adored this club as if she'd been playing with it from birth. She has adopted the West Ham mantra, and she has been, and I think will rightly be, one of the players that we will go back to when we see West Ham finally trying to grip their hands on mid-table in the WSL. Will be one of the players that we look back on being like she paved the way for the midfielders that we see now.
I mean, it's a shame because I kind of think her style and tenacity complements the Guarino of it all of West Ham.
Yeah,
But I mean, again, how many players do you know come in mid-season in 23, 24,
yeah.
and then are named club captain the season after, right?
It's
Like
incredible.
that's mentality. That's everyone knowing around her what she can provide,
Mm,
and that's me saying that what she can provide for the Matildas is not comparable to any other player in midfield. I
mm,
can talk pound for pound and I can say maybe Gorry didn't have the greatest Asia Cup from what I've seen her to be, which I think her World Cup in 23 was pretty
mm,
fantastic. And then the form that followed that World Cup showed very evidently where she was getting her hands on sniffs of chances and the passes to assists and the goal contributions. And for a stat that's not really taken down, I wish it got taken down in the sense of like we should care about it more and it should be
mm.
detailed and labeled for football specifically. It is labeled in our Australian football, but score involvements. I feel like
Yeah.
her score involvements would be excessively high. Her ability to switch play and drive that long lob, like it's
Mm,
very, very impressive. The things she can do while diminutive, while limited in her output and her product creatively, she makes the absolute most of her
yeah.
ability and shifts the game to her strengths, which is something that I can't say about a lot of the young and up and coming talent that comes through where they feel like they have to play systematically. No, I am the system. I am good enough. And Katrina Gorry is the embodiment of the fact that wherever she goes, she's not just good enough, she makes everyone else better. And I'm hoping that if she comes back to Oz, I think it's kind of sad. I think she doesn't need to. I think she's achieved what she achieved in Brisbane that time
Mm,
ago. And I mean, if she wants to do like a farewell tour and sort that out, that's fine. But I think, yeah, I mean, even going back to the NWSL now what would be, I believe, over a decade later when her era with Kansas City.
mm.
I think I don't know. I don't know what the plan is, but I know that it will be enjoyable for us because I think she does play a semblance of like football personality. She's a great personality to watch and to follow as a bench warmer personally.
I think that it's actually, we've talked about this before. It's incredibly rare for Australian players to come back to the A-League, mostly because you're not paid as a full-time
Yeah.
player, but more so because the level is such a drastic decrease. I personally wouldn't come back as a 33-year-old, not because of the pay, not because of anything like that, mostly because there's more risk of me getting injured. We watch the A-League every week. Playing in midfield is an incredibly hard job for a 33-year-old to do. Tamika Yallop has done it in a way for Brisbane that I think would be an incredible link up. That nostalgia will bring fans back to the A-League, a fan base that has actually been growing.
Okay, I'll give you a question. Do you think Katrina Gorry holds the score against the Knicks in that second leg? Do you think maybe maybe not, they don't win, but is it a closer game?
I think so, yes. I just, given the fact that I don't necessarily like or trust Brisbane's midfield, I think it was their weakest part of the game. But I think that for Brisbane, this is more so an opportunity to open the door for other players to come back to the A-League. It's something that we don't love to see because we want the league to be growing as a grassroots league, somewhere where we can
development league,
somewhere we can grow players. But to bring back players as mature age, as experience, potentially coming into coaching as well, it'll only increase the league. Personally, for me, I would love for there to be some sort of swap deal with Sian Fryer. I desperately want to see her in the WSL. I've never been so bullish on Achilles.
You are serious. Yeah, I don't even see it, to be honest, and I'm supposed to be seeing it.
I don't know what it is.
I find her perpetually underwhelming in ways that I find Katrina Gorry perpetually overwhelming in a great way. Like I think this is the difference. This is exactly what I was talking about with Cooney Cross. If Katrina Gorry had Sian Fryer's ability, she would still be in that. She wouldn't be leaving the WSL.
Well, Sian Fryer got picked up by Wolfsburg.
Yeah, exactly. That's my point. She's got the talent. Where's the Gorry-esque tenacity? How much do you have to play or watch? How often do you have to be in camp with Katrina Gorry to not want that tenacity? Like I don't know.
I see that tenacity. I don't know.
I see it in moments and spurts in the A-League. But if she was good enough on the park at Wolfsburg in training, I feel like she would have got her moment, and she never got her moment. But hopefully she does make the move. That would be a nice swap deal. And I mean, it would be nice for as much as we have spoken about it, really, it would be nice for the Dub to have a player like Gorry to attract bigger crowds, make Brisbane a little bit more of a staple in finals and playoffs, and maybe potentially get further. The Janssen Gorry link up will definitely live there. But that is all we have for the basically emergency transfers and departures and extensions and rumors, unless something has happened in the last 15 minutes that we have to cover, which I really sincerely hope not, because I will kill whoever the next person is to leave. I will kill Donna. Yes, I will kill Donna. Like it's an episode of Doctor Who where she gets turned out. But that is all we have this week for the Benchwarmers podcast. We are on Spotify, we are on Instagram, we are on YouTube, we are on TikTok for our short form content. We're on our long form audio visual spectacular. I mean, this is the proof in the pudding. This is part 3. Name another podcast in the world that's doing 3 podcasts a week. Name another podcast in the world that's doing 3 women's football podcasts in a week. That basically any time a world-class player gets mass exodus from their club, we're covering every second, not every minute, not every hour, but every day, every week.
Every week?
Every week? Every week. Jesus Christ. Oh my God. I set the tone. You've just got to continue the tone. It's okay. It's all right. We're going to depart the podcast the way McCABE and Kerr did. Depart their team, which is with honor and legends. Thank you all. Thank you guys for being legends, for listening to us for, nearly over 3 hours this week, because it's been a crazy week of WOSO and we love WOSO. But thank you so much for listening. Keep warming the benches and have a great week.